Alright guys, got the brackets on. Those are pretty easy. It's light steel, easy to weld up. This particular light here is a 30-inch bar and comes with 3 brackets. But I'm only going to try using 2, but because the gap here in the middle is different than over here. I'd have to fab something up. Had the same issue on the Tacoma, where I actually put a bar across for the 3rd. Shoot, I may still do that if I have the materials. Otherwise I gotta drop what I'm doing, put everything away, head on down to the hardware store and get some steel to make a bracket for back there so I can bolt a 3rd bolt in the middle. I mean, it seems alright, but it's kind of flimsy. When you're going down the road, this thing's going to be vibrating. This is the bracket right here. Not too impressed. It's aluminum. It's extruded or whatever. It's thin. Look at that. So you got the bolt there, bolts down to the bottom, so that's okay. But these 2 little adjusting brackets here are pretty thin, pretty weak. Here we go from the back side. Let's get the camera in a little tighter, but you got these 2 bolts and there's nuts that fit in the slot there, so, and then you can adjust it to aim it up and down, but it's kind of flimsy. I think these things might end up cracking. Look at the ones on the Bronco though. Okay, say they're smaller. This issue I'm having here, see, these are sturdy. These are really sturdy, but look at the brackets. They're different brackets. I hope the light's not too bad here. See how those brackets are steel. These are the aluminum ones. See here, the adjuster bolts, or the bolts slots there going from the back. These here have another bracket that bolts onto the light and then bolts onto the bracket. Don't know whether I can get you a good shot in there, but hopefully you get the idea. See, so these, you can see the screws going, or the bolts going in through sideways. And then there's a block. I remember putting that in. It's kind of a pain because there's a 3rd part to this, but there's a block that goes screwed into the lamp. And then these go onto the bracket. So a lot better bracket. I don't know why they changed their bracket to this. This is probably just cheaper or something, but yeah, it is cheaper. Alright guys, I decided to relocate that light. I did not like it on the top bar, so I'm back to my original location. I'm glad I had the extra steel brackets laying around for that. Those are just some regular brackets with a hole in them, just nothing special. So my issue now is the brackets that I put on there have 1/2-inch holes, and these are 3/8. Those are 3/8 bolts. Actually they're metric, but got some fender washers laying around. It's perfect what I needed. This looks a lot better. It's less inconspicuous, if you know what I mean. Up here it just did not go, did not fit, you know. I mean, it just didn't look right. Alright, so I think that looks a little better. It kind of fits more with the whole truck, if you know what I mean. These are still good though. Yeah, I can use these for the flag on the sand dunes, right? Alright guys, here's a quick look at the suspension. And if you don't know, over, let's see, Thursday I was out on the trail. I just went out for a little hike and a little swim down at the creek, but to get out of there you need a 4-wheel drive, so perfect combo, perfect chance to check out, or actually look and see how the suspension is working from the underside of the truck. Okay, so first of all, I'm running the Fox 2.5 coilover reservoir shocks. But yeah, these are specifically made for the 5-inch or 6-inch, 5.5-inch, I think, BDS lift kit for Colorado. Very similar to the rough country lift. I mean, the basic designs are the same, so it fits right in there. These are like $800 a piece, so together they're $1,600. Not too impressed. I mean, they look fabulous, you know. Awesome looking shock, but for my type of wheeling, a little overkill, but it's what would fit without spacers, you know. I did want to get the 2.0 Fox shock, which is a coilover, which is a standard coilover, but I would have had to put a spacer because they don't make it for this lift kit. Couple things to know about these. First of all, if you read the manual that comes with these coilovers, there are travel limits on these things. Let's see. Fox shocks are designed only to dampen the travel of the vehicle in compression and rebound. That means dampen, okay? They're not intended to handle severe top out or bottom out forces. Be used to use the correct bottom out stops and limiting straps in severe applications. So yeah, severe applications is what they're talking about here. That's why I am running on bump stops. First of all, the rough country kit does not come with bump stop extensions to lower the bump stops once you put the lift kit on, so I had to make my own. Now BDS comes with them. I saw another lift kit, they come with bump stop extensions, but for some reason rough country, they don't come with them, so I made my own. So here's just a perfect sample of that. This is a small version of what I've got on there right now. This is from Daystar. It's a tube with a piston in it, and inside the piston is these like urethane dampers you stack in there. They come in firm and soft or medium. These are the black ones. There's some blue ones in there that are supposed to be softer if you want to soften it up a little. I'm running the black ones. They seem to be working pretty good, but from the video I took the other day, it looks like these springs are almost at full compression where they're going to bottom out. And I'm driving pretty mild. It looks like I'm going fast in the video, but I'm not. So you combine that with the weight of this truck, with the bumpers and the winches and all that stuff, I may have to bump up this spring. A little heavier spring. But for right now, I'm going to adjust these bump stops. And somebody was questioning the bump stops. They want to know if they move in the sleeve. I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about. They do slide in this tube, and this tube mounts into a can that's welded onto the truck. And what keeps this from moving is a ring. See this ring? It's got a snap ring that goes on that groove right there. So you fit that all the way up in the bottom of the can, slide it on the can. This keeps it from pushing up due to the forces, you know. Other than that, that's all there is to it. There's a cap that goes on here. So now what I'm thinking of doing is welding some spacers onto the landing part right there where it hits the lower control arm, so it doesn't have so much play in there. It's got a lot, and it's still going in, it looks like maybe an inch. So right now I've got the truck off the ground, so the suspension is at full droop, and I already welded one pad on here just so it had a flat spot to land on. But now it's got I can still stick my finger in between there when it's on the ground. So I'm thinking of tightening that up maybe a 1/2 inch, which will leave a 1/2 inch gap. And then as you can see from the wear marks on here, this still compresses an inch approximately. Yeah. So here's the can I was telling you about. I fitted these up myself. Took a whole lot of work. Took me like all day. And so far they're holding up. Could have done a better job, but you know, I'm just an amateur backyard mechanic. So yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stack probably like a 1/2 inch piece of steel on here, just tack it in. All it is just a landing spot. You can see a little circle where the bump stop hits. Because these are tight from the factory. If you look at your truck from the factory, you'll notice you probably only got about a 1/2 inch gap between the bump stops, and actually the bump stop goes up here in the factory. So that's how much I had to lower it. I think these are the biggest Daystar Stinger bump stops they make. They're so long. They come in different sizes, and I got the longest ones. Okay, so that's what I'm up to right now since I got the welder out. Alright guys, it's pretty bright out here, but I welded my little plates in just to tighten up that gap there on the bump stops. One thing I wanted to tell you, there is a small rubber bushing, if you want to call it that, or bumper, in the bottom of the coil bucket here, so that the shock body, if it should come all the way down, there is something way down on the bottom there. How effective it is, I don't know. You know, like it says, in severe applications they advise you to run a bump stop. So also these are serviceable. You know, these are not everyday throwaway shocks you buy at the auto parts store. These are pretty much like a racing shock absorber, so they are serviceable, and it's all in your manual here. 100% street use. Every 50,000 miles they recommend having them serviced. So just think about that if you want to be servicing stuff all the time, because you're going to pull this out. You're going to be without a vehicle for a while you send them in to get serviced. Okay. Now let's see, that's for 50%, well, see, now it gets more service if you run your truck 50-50, 50% street, 50% off-road every 10,000 miles. That's not a whole lot of miles between service. 10,000 miles, that's what, an oil change? In my case, 2 oil changes. I guess you can just drive until they start bleeding oil out, right? And then 100% off-road use every 1,000 miles. Now that's Shocks Need Love Too from Fox. So something to think about, you know, if this stuff takes maintenance. This is not stuff you buy at the auto parts store. This is some high quality stuff, specifically built for racing. Yeah. So hey guys, I am all done with this side finally. What took me a lot of time was to disassemble the bump stop. I figured since I got everything apart, I might as well take care of an issue I had. And that was the actual piston, I guess you call it, the rod here. It was rattling around. Since I put them on, you know, since I first installed them, and I figured now would be the time to look at it, so I disassembled the whole thing. Got to slide this out of the can, and it's a tight fit. Took all my time. It's got 2 clamping bolts on the can, but still it's a tight fit. It's loose, but it won't come out, you know, and you got very little room to get in there and pound it down. So I finally got it out, and what you do is you just disassemble them, screws apart like that. And the only thing I could see or try differently was to change the bumpers out here. So yeah, I popped them. I got extras. So I popped them out, popped some new ones in, and screw it all back together. And it should be a tight fit. When you screw it together, it's tight. It should be tight in there. So maybe I just had one bad one or something. I don't know, but it should be tight in there, not rattle. This side had all those rattled. Now it's nice and tight. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, this is all new stuff to me. I've seen the air bumps before and the hydraulic stops, bump stops, but this is more like my budget. Although it does take work to install them, you know, it's not. Oh, one more thing, if you're welding on your cars, especially these new cars, they recommend you disconnect the battery on your electrical system. Which kind of makes sense, you know, with all the sensitive electronic equipment in these cars these days. You don't want to damage any of your computers or any of that stuff, so. That's the reason for disconnecting my battery. I probably should have told you that from the beginning, but kind of a pain. Because, you know, I gotta reset my radio and all that stuff. But I think I'm done for the day. I'm gonna put my stuff away. It's 3 o'clock.